So, India has surpassed 20 million confirmed cases of COVID-19, and analysts say that the real number is likely much, much higher. It's now so bad, the Indian Premier League cricket tournament, the most popular sporting event in the country, has now been postponed indefinitely. The Indian opposition leader, Rahul Gandhi, has called for the government to impose a national lockdown. So to talk more about India's COVID devastation, we are joined by Richa Sanwal. She is an independent journalist and filmmaker, and she joins us now from Mumbai, the capital. Thank you so much for joining us. Took a quick look at your Twitter account. I saw that your mom had contracted COVID. I hope that she recovered well, but I saw your appeal for, medication to help her. What are things like in Mumbai?
Thank you so much, Anne-Marie. You're right. My mom did contract the virus a few weeks ago, and it was a very difficult time for me personally to sort of scramble together all the medical equipment and facilities for her, because there is such a desperate, dire situation going on in India right now. Honestly, the silver lining for us has been social media. We've all been trying to help each other out through social media, putting out requests, and then people sort of come forward and call numbers up for you, or just sort of give you leads or resources to sort of work towards. I think currently in India, especially, I think people feel very abandoned by the authorities and the government, because you're pretty much left to your own devices and every man to himself. So I think that's like the general sentiment, and it's been very, very heart-wrenching to see all the posts coming out on our timelines on social media.
Yeah, I've seen people kind of taking matters into their own hands on social media. Also seen some of our coverage where family members are acquiring their own oxygen to bring to their loved ones, are the ones doing a lot of the medical care in some of these hospitals, that there just are too few doctors and they just cannot get to everyone. But what I really want to know is then, what concrete action is being taken on the ground to get through this current wave? It can't be sort of every man for himself. What's going on?
So, a lot of states have gone into partial lockdown. So where I'm at, I'm in Maharashtra, the state of Maharashtra. And we have a partial lockdown, so it's not like you cannot step out of the house, but you need to have a good reason to do so. There are timings, there are rules and regulations that we need to follow. There are cops deployed everywhere on the street, and they will, just like arbitrarily fine people and question them if they are stepping out for not a very valid reason. So I think that is helping. But the situation is so dire, and this variant is sort of very lethal, and it spreads really quickly. It's very infectious, that people are still sort of suffering and trying to look out for help. But I think all states have gone into their own sort of partial lockdown. So I hope that in the coming few weeks, the situation gets better. In fact, I was reading Dr. Fauci's recommendations to India, because the US is providing us with some aid and, some vaccine help, which, I think that was the right thing to do. The international community needs to come forward and show solidarity to India, because we need that right now. And he recommended that India needs to go into a full national lockdown, not for too long, just go in a lockdown for a few weeks, just sort of manage this, really out of hand situation.
You were talking a little bit about the international community, and I think the final question that I kind of want to ask you before we have to let you go is, people want to know how to help. What can people do who aren't in India?
There are a lot of, organizations out there who are doing some amazing work on ground, and they're genuine. There's, an organization called Hemkund Foundation, and, I'd be happy to sort of post all those links on my Twitter if anyone wants to check it out. My Twitter handle is @RickSan, so that's RIKSAN. And, those organizations are doing some really incredible work. And of course, people who are not in India and they want to still help out, I think monetary support goes a long way. So I think that would be a great way to just get started.
Oh, Richa, I'm really, really happy to hear that your mother is on the mend, and thanks for spending some time with us.
Thank you for having me.